don't think I'm going to take up any more of our time because I want to hear our poets today. And I am thinking, has everybody signed in? There's a sign-in sheet over there. So we have one, and are you reading today?
This is the first day.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, great. Welcome. Okay, so we have audience. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Okay, I am thinking, and Bear, you're reading, right, Bear? And are you reading? You're not reading? Okay. So Mike will be reading. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I am, and I may have someone else that I spoke to that may be coming in at the end, but I'm aware she's coming. So I am thinking maybe 7 minutes, 8, if you happen to be in the middle of a poem. Will that work okay with everybody? About 7, 8 minutes for a run over? Okay, awesome. Louise, I'm going to invite you up first. Okay.
Okay, so I want to thank profoundly the Athenaeum, Adele, for hosting these series, Poemtown for this annual event that's really cherished by local poets, and I wanted to just apologize that I'm going to be leaving early because of my allergies, okay? But I couldn't pass up this last opportunity to publicly read, so. In my ongoing concern for global warming, this next poem. Near the Canadian border, tiger lilies open, striped rust, broadcast week-long swelter, heat the eye. Feverfew pokes from fields, fan whir sucks in tiny gnats with lacy wings, iridescent flies. Above tower flame, beyond Dante's word brush, Picasso's paint, old orange climbs its rungs, even pitchforks smolder. How to hold last swallowtail flutter, sweat and wilt. Toes, bright red embers. How to unroll skin, spoon each breath, hot lemon custard spiced with pollen. I lived in New York City for 25 years of my adult life, and I periodically pull out a map. Snow mist encourages nostalgia. I scan a map, unfolded rectangle, an impersonal grid, alphabet, number, and name. Spaces between parallels, green smudges, a red square on a pre-harbor circle, ancestors on a teeming ship. One story expands into 10,000 others, memory adding texture, popped up box scenes, swirl of senses, a personal museum of artifacted rooms, ungraphable drama, choreography of glance, edges rounded or puffed, what snow does to roofs, sharpness and scrap, mist and albatross winging above rivers, a Walt Whitman view beyond that Broadway tavern, collage of love, bites of sex, my view tainted with lobelia and rubble, snow become rain, behind glass silk, doorway sleepers, gutter wedges, a kaleidoscope I refold along worn-out creases. Because of my allergies, I have to clean a great deal. The hammock. Despite an avid brush, on Saturdays, I pick up clumped dog hairs. In the garden, dig a perennial canvas, pull out every weed. Suburban perfection, good housekeeping, I tried to shed in a Brazilian hammock, roped old oak to garden shack, to a rainforest, light twinkled shadow, zippy monkeys, a canopy of wings. What I'd pictured, corner to doorframe, years in a city room, pipes bursting into waterfall. Weight of worked hours as an inverted V. I sink, reversed through woven dark green plaid. Rock side to side as if a holy woman, diviner of release from that shy child, self-holding interior anger. Small dog sprawled on my torso's heaves. And the last longer poem, and then some haiku. Again, because of my allergies, I cannot turn radiators on in my room where I now live in an apartment building. Cold feet while hibernating in an unheated room. Inside for days, a few radio programs, Judy Collins singing old Leonard Cohen songs. Parts of me fall away, a keyed D crescendo, scraped fish scales, wings sharply banking. Yet how little required for contentment. Tracking an Arctic storm, interior ice patterns, wind pummeling, chimney smoke, half notes. Warm spot under cover, but last night feet, 2 frozen trout, lost their blood. No hot water bottle, no other body to hum its glow. Just a square of moon on blue-green carpet. An old jingle, flying synapses, a slow toe resurrection, jaunty tremors, wriggling towards sleep, a red ball-nosed clown dancing gymnastic ballet to a Brandenburg concerto, upturned floppy shoes, levitating finale. And haiku, just 3. Snowflakes fly as birds. Roofs once again feathered white, migrating winter. Water windrows rush. Gutters gurgle, bubble up, Phoebe symphony. Gloom spreads mud, grimed snow patches, daffodils. Thank you.
everything I looked at this morning to get ready to come here today, I thought I read when I was last here at the first gathering of the April month. So I have no idea if I'm here boring you with what you heard a couple weeks back. So, but this was called Crows in Burlington, Vermont. Dark scattering in a row against late lake light. The form of sin in the time of sins, but I hear them make in the sky the same ruined noise I've made back to grief, to its rubbing and salting in, not admitted to if you're smart. Now dead, nearly aborted Vicky used to shout at a crying child. Except to the wine, so it can be pissed. The therapist keeps notes, the dammer of used women, his eternal earful. Roman-faced birds without fear. Their roost the corner poplar fattening for most of a century on lake waters, and not yet we sigh in thanks improved. Butternut and viburnum woodlets spread from her armpits. Hold the May kinglets and redstars and the gray-cheeked and hermit thrushes planning to skulk in centennial woods. In winter, though, over colleges, still dark on the hill, it's the crows. At dawn, they chase each other off the high branches and touch down, already poised to spring. Black robes winged for summoning the east from the mountains, and on a day they know by ancient taught secret coughs signal holy orders to the sun or the morning. Bring the pretty migration and its eggs, let the children eat. This too is blessed. Preach the blazed, feathered engines of their throats. I wore my Los Angeles Public Radio sweatshirt in honor of where this next poem comes from. It's called On Taking My First Bite. And this was when I had just come back to America after decades. And anyways, somebody gave me this KCRW sweatshirt, and her name was Lisa, and she and her partner helped buffer culture shock for me. But anyway, this is not about them. On taking my first bite, movie dates. Failed to notice the tongue of the woman as she hit the ground, sliding out. Swallow. In one of those earthen grains, you are still alive, instructed a back row divinity that would later be recognizable as female. Not till I was 30, because it is knowledge that prefers the plucked, the brined in time, no longer hungering to praise death, to suckle Altman's ammunitioned, furless girls. It isn't Lisa's intention, driving between Navajo mountains, to movie argue, the dirt a rainbow, blood orange scars, tires, and the booted species headed for evening. Our bodies glyphs a raven hovers over like a book. Boulders that are lonely, holy monsters yell and beckon. The car spooks like a horse, and no wonder, on top of a red, riddled woman stretched infinitely. She even loves a scorpion. We who have been taught nothing are commanded. Eat some of what I do here. Not trees, not grass. Each iota is breath, is salt. I am the event. It isn't safe to resist what's made known. Behind sated or blank moments, it will still happen. The desert opens its flower mind, and bright lizards stop, hoping to see it happen. The offering of the spoon of dust. and dust's alteration toward form, toward another child, the story of body into bread into body. That old coyote trick. He stole it, of course, from her, from dirt, that sorcering. I have to have a drink, I'm sorry. My throat is all crazy. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, asking you. Actually, let me try again. Of love I've asked. This poem is only written because I'm always being asked why I never have any love poems. Of love I've asked. Of love I've asked in fitful times what you are, beyond the oldest word, and where to find the stairway down night's peacock wall, built for me to strut and cry out loud on. Must it be another fall? Hands held, teeth brushed, seeking by the happy light of passion, oh love, not this. Love is all you'll say. Love is all. Sniffle the sands that itch the in-between of one and none. So pan before the rapture part for small clemencies, just this being calmed, this circumferencing by two arms. I'm going to stop there because I'm really losing my voice here. Okay.
Jeannie's stand. I had a dream about a very tall man last night, so I did really, but anyway. Is the mic okay? Yeah. Okay. I do have 4 poems, and they're all fairly short, so I'll be good today. The first is the poem that was accepted for Poemtown here. It's down on Moose River, down on Railroad Street. Kitchen poem. Recipe, a list of ingredients, spice, savory spice, a touch of bitter, enchants the sweet, arouses the nose, kisses the lips, teases the tongue, to pause the heart, ignite the mind, breathe, tall, rise and fall. Recipe, baked, fried, quickly stirred, or slow, enrich, sustain, the wholeness, the reason, your love, the wine, the bread and butter of life. And then now a nostalgia poem, sort of. There are incidents that I've remembered throughout my whole life, and sometimes as a child, you relive these and you don't understand them. And I think that finally I clarified this moment that's gone on in my mind since 2nd or 3rd grade. This is growing up in a very small town surrounded by farms. Bruce, there you go again, trotting into my dream, like my rabbit dog, Rinty, following me to our 2-room school, 5 days for 5 years. Sunday school, Boy Scouts, MYF. 12 years of school, a baseball team of boys and 1 girl. We all, no dogs, we all who mattered and were white went. Now, 60, almost 70 years later, there you are again, sashaying into my dream, pride of the town. Neighborhood friends, we played in team sports, but that is not a partnership, just a barter for one. You did teach me one thing, wrestling for power. As young boys do, you pinned me down. I relaxed. so did you, making it easy for me to topple you. Up, I shrugged, walked away, turned and looked at you, next to that tall, tall walnut tree, thinking, ridiculous. Not you, Bruce, but the game, the fighting game. I will spend my life working not to play it again. Bruce, by the way, became a well-known surgeon. He's like the head of the surgical unit at the University of Maryland in Baltimore. He fought very well. This is a poem that has no name. I don't know if you ever faced down a barrel of a gun, but this is about that. It's called, tentatively called Fodder. Once you've been a target, you know without a doubt the worth of life is endless, rain rushing down a spout. Quickly can he kill you, a mortal life no more. No spiritual revenge will even out the score. No matter how powerful you stand behind a gun, death waits down the road, no matter where you run. It may not catch you quickly. You may live long and safe and secure, or run along a skidding row like men from whore to whore. Longing for a substance, even when you take a life, to make yours last forever without a bit of strife. Each one seeks a reason for keeping each alive. Is it just enough to survive until it is time to demise? And the last one is, it's for my father. And I call him by name in this because he was my second father. I don't know my birth father. He died when I was very young. And this man, after being a gunner on a battleship in the Pacific, came back and married my mother with 5 kids and raised us as his own. So, and it's called Daddy's Little Girl. Often when we run to our father Joe, alarmed with childhood distress, he calmed our furrowed brows with storytelling art. He'd begin, when I was a little girl, we always felt a ripple of surprise. Discomfort turned to giggles. We'd listen as our laugh took our frown away. The tale clarified our woes. In addition to the lesson taught, subtly we learned, whoever we may be, our paths are not smooth roads directed by godly whims. Our sight not from one side seen, but wider than ourselves. Thank you.
Stand tall, is that it? Maybe not right now. Oh, we got almost a great crowd here today. So I've been working all morning trying to finish up, complete 2 poems. The first one is in 28-syllable stanzas. It's called Rambling Ortsalinettes. That's the name of the style of poetry. The title is I'll Be a Monkey's Uncle. We're going to hold on to you forever here, if you don't mind. Now, don't bail on me. Here we go. Hang on, sweetie. I'll be a monkey's uncle. What an actress. You're not old enough to be her granny. Now let's see your real ID. Watch your own body language, and especially their smile, or you'll end up playing with a whole barrel of monkeys. Don't bother just because you feel that you've got something on me. Who knows where you were last night? I think we may find out. I know, dear, this toxic stress is pandemic. Don't worry. It's a passing phase of high-tech adjusting frequencies. Does it matter what happens? Eventually, everything will take place in time. So aren't we already in the now? Try to live for the highest purpose as our most cherished beliefs fail and we are left with nothing but question marks. It's been a wild ride since back in the day when we had those visions entertaining us in light, giving life credence. Aren't you going to be wrung through the ringer of despair like the rest of us? Or won't you try to wake up and fly right? You are coming up to grips with the reality of this situation, reciting, "I am that I am." That's it? The tragedy involves our waiting until it was too late. No one notified us of the outcome in advance. The shy guy does not feel that they should be involved one way or another. They feel just fine living life remotely. This state of bliss is closely disassociated with anything we have in mind that is at all physical. If you feel that you have reached this recording in error, please check your erroneous listings again and again. Thanks to all you folks out there. Here is today's blessing. It's collectively multiplied for the very highest good. We've come to the conclusion that when we think of someone, they never cease to amaze us. Suddenly, here they are. If we've confused phoebes for robins nesting in the shed, it's obvious that our wife's in love with a grizzly bear. Truth passes before your eyes. We cease to wonder whether this tale isn't part of a greater story left untold. Continue to live in the light, and no one will meddle with your affairs. Try to be a little bit more discreet. The practice of healing wounds that can no longer bind us involves seeing inside ourselves to learn we know nothing. Now you have got me going. In order to figure this one out, it's going to take some getting used to our sixth sense. Try to maintain in life a supple body in order to step out of the way of danger that we imagine. Why blame someone else when we fail to become the master of our own fate? Spiritual life only brings happiness. Was there perhaps something in your orange juice to make you feel this way? Thank you. When you begin to awaken, nothing's changed. Go on, fantasies are for children who never grow up. Sowing seeds of trust always brings the greatest yield of love. Thank you.
There was something in your orange juice this morning.
Oh, I just had lunch. That was I'll Be a Monkey's Uncle. This one is a slightly different style. It's instead of 28 syllables, this is 25 stanzas of 21 syllables. I call them rambling Ortsellans. And this one is like everyone else we know. Eccentricities abound with ignorance. Who cares if it's true or fake ignorance? What was all that about? They appear to be suffering like everyone else we know. It's so noisy here that I cannot think, and that is why I prefer to have silence. Did you know I'm counting on you because you're the only one who can be trusted, right? How could we possibly be madly in love when someone else comes along every day? That must be the densest part of the forest, and somewhere beneath that is our mindset. Here's our pathway beyond the beyond, but don't think for a moment it's all about you. Believe me, the benefits far outweigh the risk when it comes to finding the right cloud. Don't try to cut it with an acrimonious kniff. Try one of the acronyms. We know of no one who is not upset by all of the flack coming from their kitty. There's too much rot and filth here. Let's get into the flow and paddle our way up the creek. So you did get the message. What seems to be simplistic turns out to be most profound. Those monsters have to produce more of the same stuff, don't they? Do they know that trolls are bad enough? We keep telling ourselves it's not too bad. Eventually, whiffs of spring will fill the air. Eccentricities abound with ignorance. Who knows if it's true or fake ignorance? We were two lost souls looking for solace. Before you tied our shoelaces together, if the wind could only stop howling in the trees, I might sing a song of summer breeze. Have we no idea what our minds are capable of at this time and location? Everything seems to be here and everywhere all the time. That is an eye-opener. Let's have some good old rage, eh? Just to start the ball rolling and go beyond all the fear. My guess is that we'll have to deal with our reflections and watch our own projections. Subtle satire may not be what it seems. Profundity stands as a clear testament. Conventional wisdom has been developing into new forms beyond paradigms. Who knows why people think such things when there's no escape? We have another thing coming. When we get what we need, then we want for nothing, and that is what's charming about life. Thank you.
I seem to have triggered Louise's allergies. Bye. An allergy that's used to require that she speak first and allows her to leave when somebody she doesn't want to listen to gets up to the mic.
I didn't take it personally.
My name is Michael J. Farrand. I'm really sorry, and I'm from East Haven. I'm really sorry that the last couple times I didn't give my name, so maybe you could just splice that audio in there. When I listened to Joe's Ortzel's, I reminded of how he gathers them. If you ever spend any time with him, he's always, every time you say something, he goes, oh, and he... So I wonder how many of those were caught in passing or something I heard. So anyway, congratulations, Joe. You found a very supportive audience for him. I've got two quick announcements, which I think I'm going to run together. And one is that after these events, we try preferentially to meet at Bread and Butter, which is down on Eastern Avenue. And that's for a little food, fun, and fellowship. So everybody's invited, unless you have allergies to Mike, of course. I think Lee's here. Lee? Yay! Somebody's always walking in while I'm up here. The other is that Jim is not here today. Jim is the one who looks like me if I were to stand on that little stool there and take my cap off. Jim is suffering from the same thing I've got, which is this sort of endless crud that just won't go. And he thinks he's down for another. But he said, well, would you read one of my poems, Mike? And I don't know if I'm going to do that. But what I think I will do is I'll bring this to Bread and Butter, and then so we'll run the two together. Anyway, I know my time is running out with all these important administrative announcements. So
I'll tell you what. I'll start you here.
that's nice of you. Okay. Again, I'm Michael J. Farron from East Haven, and I tend to give people allergies at readings. Writers get ideas from newspapers, and last week I was reading the New York Times obituary section, and a guy had just died at 101, and he had dedicated his life to studying the inner lives of the Neanderthal. So I decided to write on the inner life of Neanderthals. Growing up, we're taught about our subhuman cousins, extinct these 40,000 years, how crude they were, how how they were all about eat and be eaten, how their lives were given over entirely to survival. Now comes word down from the academics that perhaps we've been judging our crude, bone-crushing cousins a little too harshly. With the advent of genomic testing and continuous advances thereof, these academics have determined scientifically that these brutish creatures may not be so distant after all. Rather, due to interbreeding between the species, they are part of us. We are walking around with subhuman Neanderthal blood surging through our human bloodstreams. In fact, genomes of non-Africans have been shown to contain 2% Neanderthal genetic material. This has required a major rethink on just how brutish these creatures really were. Perhaps these extinct subhumans were not such brutes after all. New research suggests, in fact, that Neanderthals were possessed of deep and luscious inner lives. Examples of Neanderthal art, flower burials, feather adornment, eagle talon jewelry, might indicate a capability for complex symbolic thought. Perhaps their lives actually involved journaling in the morning, writing poetry in the afternoon, contemplating new art with which to decorate their caves. Would it be too great a leap to suggest that the Neanderthal penned love poems of finest quality? Real tearjerkers that wormed their way into female hearts, no matter the species. Could this explain why the brutish Neanderthal, known for killing and being killed, wooed so many of our fair maidens way back in the day, while our ancestral men were still living in treetops, too scared at times to descend to meet these square-jawed bards who were instead perfecting rhythmic and rhyming patterns with which to woo the ladies? Genetically, at least, this proves that the very best way in this rough and tumble world to ensure that your human species survives, that your traits endure, that your genetic material is passed along to subsequent generations, the only way to punch your ticket to eternity is to practice your love poetry. Thank you. Thank you for the New York Times obituaries on a 101-year-old PhD who spent his life studying the inner life of the Neanderthal. Oh, by the way, it used to be Neanderthal when I was a kid. Now it's Neanderthal, because we're all aspiring to be Norwegian academics.
And like actually this month's study I was reading this morning, hasn't heard that is on Neanderthal.
It's a great topic, and I hope we'll talk about it, but I don't want to use up my 7 minutes because timekeeper. Okay. Now, I thought I'd go ahead and do a companion piece. It's also a love poem. This one, however, is called How I Survived the Zombie Apocalypse, a love story. Disastrous, catastrophic, they said. Only the very few would survive. Well, I am one of the very few human beings who survived the zombie apocalypse. And now I can admit to you wonderful folks that I was not even a believer. Zombie apocalypse, are you kidding me? Not even a thing. There's absolutely no way a bunch of undead zombies are going to bring about the end of the world. Not on my watch, no siree, not happening. You remember the Night of the Living Dead? That's what we're talking here. Undead, glow-eyed zombies dripping with cytoplasm, bent on our destruction. If you could just talk to them, you know what I mean? But who's talking to a bunch of zombies? Zombies mumbling, muttering in unison in some sort of zombie patois, an undecipherable tongue. Do they even have tongues? Do they even have brains? Brains that would normally be attached to tongues? As any lover of apocalyptic fiction surely knows already, a zombie apocalypse happens when there's a widespread rise of zombies, hostile to human life who engage in a general assault on our civilization. And human victims of zombies can become zombies themselves if they are bitten by zombies. Or if Marie finally got to me. Or if a zombie-creating virus should travel through the air, everybody who dies becomes one of the undead. Oh yeah, we're talking apocalyptic. This exponentially growing crisis, this zombie plague swamps law enforcement, health services, even our military, leading to a panicked collapse of civil society with only isolated pockets of human survivors remaining. Water supplies, electric power, mainstream media all go down. National governments go into hiding. Human survivors scavenge for food, water, weapons, and most of all, love. That is what ultimately saved this human being, the search for love. As expected, when they came for me, it was extremely traumatic, causing shock, panic, and disbelief. Then, she smiled at me. The cute little lass of a zombie. And all of a sudden, I believed in zombies. She was with her parents, a mama and a papa zombie. This was at Bread and Butter. And what looked to be her fella, a young lad sort of zombie. Fortunately, they didn't see her coming on to me with her young last zombie wiles. She even gave me a weepy cytoplasmic wink, which even I, a previously unbelieving human, could not fail to interpret properly. And so we started a hybrid zombie-human family with undead zombie-human children. But before you start wondering if this was like some Night of the Living Dead tragedy, I've been living au contraire, mes amis. I did the math. I figured the chances of giving birth to an undead zombie-human hybrid are far greater in the state of Vermont than they are for giving birth to a live human child. Thank you.
That was really pretty great. I think it might be true that that's what's starting.
The cheese stool.
There we go.
Is this, can you hear? Okay. I didn't intend to be late again today. Took me a little over an hour, but here I am. Happy again to be here at this location, and thanking staff and director and everyone else for this privilege, this humbling privilege to read here. And I appreciate it. I appreciate hearing all of the others read. Okay, so let's see what I have. I don't know if I've read these poems here or not, but if I have, you know, just roll your eyes.
Always better to say.
Oh, I'm Jeannie Morris from West Charleston. Responding to a prompt, it was called Connect. So this is what I came up with. A bridge could connect, a bridge would connect, like an adverb. Some nouns do this also. I prefer prepositions, long prepositional phrases sketched on a blackboard, chalk being a bridge, and my mother singing to brush away dust from chalk. I actually had one poem published in LA, so I feel that I can read my one published poem. It's called Pants. It was dark, it was stormy, it was night. Raindrop slides down, down window pane. Silk shawl slides down, down shoulder. Wind shrieks, branch trembles. No matter, work to be done. So to it, then. Okay, now this was one I had fun with. It was another prompt. It was about foreign words. Voilà, voici, il ne pas de quoi. Words heard up and down through the boulevard du Paris. Listen how they become music, songs. Watch the expressions flow. Fold them, take them home. Oh, yeah. Well, this one is better. The prompt was what you love. So I wrote, I loved to hear Mother laughing, and when she played stride piano. I love long drives on dark, rain-soaked roads, listening to jazz, sentimental 50s lyrics, sung slowly, dreamily. I love a crescendo, long and low, and how a cello makes it happen. I love words, letters, paragraphs, declarative sentences, notes. I love making poems sing. I love yarn, all wool, colorful, and I love what I create from it. I love long, narrow, sharp kitchen knives. I wish I had one. I don't. I had prepared for this a couple of days ago, but the sad news is that Mary Liz is in the hospital with pneumonia, but she said she's pretty much okay. So she's not here, but in our thoughts. And according to the weather, this one is called Mist. Sky tips over clouds, dampness glides earthward, stings eyelid, lip. Tree arms hold chalice high, waits refreshment. Rooftop makes music, crescendos, whispers. Puddle reflects intensities, promises. Grass throbs, window melts. Sleep slides down, moves my hand to yours. And there's another one about rain. And while we were dancing in the rain, and while we were drowning in the rain, there came a closing of the clouds. There came a chorus of closing. Closing that realm far from here, the far realm of cascading sunshine. The realm opening to dance. It rains, we dance. Let's see, there must be something else. Oh yeah, this is pretty good. You say you know of blood. You say you know of anguish. You say that distant road can travel with no end, no exit. You say that symphony will choose that road. You say that stanza can echo a refrain, a red refrain. You say, encircle that anguish with memory, a red memory. You say, encircle that road with that symphony. Wait for the end. See where you are now. All shine mint. Am I at the end? I might have another one. Okay, I wish I had prepared these better, but this one is kind of nice. The prompt was to go to a place where we go when we are feeling like we need to be there. Sitting on the front piazza steps, evening air all around. Mama humming, mending socks. Daddy smoking, reading Zane Grey. Light blooming over the hill. The moon moving through trees, quietly, quietly. I think that's about all I should from all these prompts. Okay. Oh, you're welcome. I wish we had, more reading here. Maybe we could read, say, in February when it's really nasty. We need to hear something. Maybe the Athenaeum would open its doors.
We'll have to revisit that.
Yeah, or something, besides, in addition to.
We had a meeting in February.
No. Where was I?
Mid-February.
Oh, here? Here?
Gotta keep up with our newsletter.
We did it upstairs, Bill did it. It was in preparation for poetry.
Oh, my. Oh.
Yeah, it was like March.
And he wants to keep it going. So whisper in his ear that you look.
More. Thank you, cameraman, also. So let me step down from my podium.
We are getting close in time. We had like one or like two short ones. We're certainly welcome to do that. This is our last time, so yes. And then we will be done.
This is short enough. Oh, no, I don't need that. That's true. This is an old poem. I like it better now, perhaps farther, because I'm farther from my mother's falling into dementia and dying. At the time I wrote it, I think she was sliding down the road of dementia. Driving through the long twilight. My mother rambles, lost outside of time. I just forget the minutes, even hours. Vermont times measured by the sun that climbs and slides above these curling mountain roads. I'll now let go the minutes, even hours. I turn the car at last out of the driveway to roll along these curling mountain roads. The edge is off the brightness of the day. So now I've turned the car out of my driveway. A mellow light enfolds the trees and steals the edges off the brightness of the day. A gauzy blanket gently drapes the hills. The mellow light unfolds the mountains, steals across the softening rocks and into ponds. A glowing blanket gently tucks the hills beneath the cloudy pink and turquoise fronds. Across the softened rocks and into ponds, now drift the shards and scales of salmon clouds, forget-me-nots and peonies like fronds, forgotten near some tear-stained funeral shroud. The shards and scales fall darker from the clouds as words drift slowly from my mother's mind. Forgotten colors rise from valleys and shroud the forests like memories lost to time. Like once bright thoughts garbled in mother's mind, the light is fading in my rearview mirror. Dark forests swallow memories of time. Ahead, the graying scene where dark creeps nearer. The light is faded in my rearview mirror. The car is floating neither then nor now. Ahead, the graying scene where dark creeps nearer. Without the sun, the world beyond seems gone. And as my car floats through the darkness, now the other side from sun-blazed mountains, without the light, the world is gone beyond the slice of distance headlights barely show. Now the other side of light-limbed mountains, no more is time measured by the sun that climbs, but in the distance, headlights barely show my mother rambling, lost outside of time. I think so. This is one I'm actually still working on, so we'll see. It's called Seasoning. The wood stove grins like a jack-o'-lantern, though we can barely feel the warmth. We meant to chink the logs of our walls, but who remembers Arctic winds while dripping sweat in mid-July? When desperate for shade, drooping with the garden flowers, who thinks of snow as misery? We have watched apples swell and raspberries turn to picking red so we can pop them in our mouths before the birds can pluck the fruit, before we see the flocks fly laden with juice, with seeds, with preparation. These creatures do not call it getting ready, not even making plans ahead. They have a casual wisdom for when to seek, when to eat, and when to store, for when to sit and rest. If only I could walk in time as easily as they fly.
Another great day in the gallery. Thank you so much. And this now brings, this now brings us to the official end of our noontime poetry readings, and I feel a little sad because I've so totally enjoyed everybody's sharings over the month. And as Mike said, and some of you have expressed an interest, maybe we can continue from time to time. We just need to whisper into Bob's ear. So anyway, and I would encourage you to continue your discussions and sharings over lunch at Bread and Butter. That's always a nice informal spot. And I hope to see you again in the Athenaeum. So thank you very much.